Hello there, Commanders, and welcome to another episode of Gladiator Faction Preview. Previously, we have previewed Spartacus, the long-awaited, long ago he was teased, there we go. Spartacus, and here is his partner in rebellion, partner in uprising, I guess, Crixus. As we go into melee, we're just using another premium unit, Slave Legionaries. So as you can see, they just play as regular Legionaries, apart from one particular unit ability that maybe we're going to cover, maybe we're not going to cover. I'll see about that. Anyway, let's get into a fight and let's get testing his first ability, which is a strike. It is Vicious Assault. Buff knockdown. Strike at nearby enemies, dealing damage and knockdown. For a short time afterwards, the unit gains increased damage. Let's show an attack order. There we go. Increased damage and will cause knockdown on all successful attacks. Oh, I see. Okay, that wasn't very well explained by Google Translate, but here, when it's written in proper English, now I understand. So all the other successful attacks that are going to land due to our melee attack, that's not the chase, yeah, are going to cause knockdowns as well. Let's see it in action. Yeah, a few of them got knocked down. This guy got knocked down. See how we can land more attacks. Stomp doesn't help. And it's no longer active. It lasts only 10 seconds. But I can use parry right afterwards. So parry, well, it also causes knockback, but it can also use knockdown, or maybe it will be can it be knocked back and down at the same time? That's not the guy flying, essentially. Speaking of flying, elephants are stomping. Bangs down somewhere. Let's try maybe pulling for a little bit to increase the number of enemies that we would strike. Okay. Well, I don't know if that was the elevator. It's quite difficult to observe, so we just need to believe the description, I guess. Well, anyway. Let's keep going. What's our second ability? The second ability is Adrenaline Rush, which we are not supposed to use while in melee, so maybe let's get out. Yeah, I'm actually going to like that. Thanks, Elephants. I was definitely going to make me go out of melee. Technically, and now I'm back. Let's try properly getting out of the melee before we get into testing. Okay, I think we're out. Also, I instead unrouted. So, it is Adrenaline Rush. We use it before getting into fight. Did I use it? Yeah, I did use it. So, it's sort of like a charge, but without, the damage part. But it also makes you much faster. So, it gives you 30% movement speed. So, for example, the Spartacus charge gave us plus 50, but plus 30 is common for heavy infantry charges, so it makes you quite a bit faster. 30% acceleration as well, so almost like a charge. And that is Adrenaline Rising. That lasts only for 5 seconds, so just like Rush and similar abilities. It also silences you, just like Dash as well. And after, if within those 5 seconds you get into melee, then you get 21% melee attack for 20 seconds, which I guess I should have tried to observe instead of just reading the ability. Okay, it was usable for like a brief second, because we were technically out of melee for a while before getting back in. Let's try disengaging again. Okay, I think we are out, mostly. Ah, there are individual soldiers that are stuck. Come on, get out, get out, get out. There we go, Corin is coming. That'll serve as a good test. And now I have 5 seconds to get into melee. We did, within 5 seconds. And now it activates, there we go. Adrenaline, 21% melee attack for 20 seconds. And that allows us to land our strikes more consistently. There we go, it causes knockdowns, and let's see if these guys are going to get knocked down again over and over. Well, it's over. They're just too short, to be honest. To really notice the difference, because the initial knockdown also lasts some time, and then you need to walk over them, and you're sort of just trying to get in there, but I guess it helps ever so slightly. It's not that big of a thing. I don't think so. Maybe we can use it again. 7 seconds. Then again, that hint is almost dead. We're going to last long. Yeah, it's going to die. Let's try fighting another enemy. Or maybe finish them over here and review the last ability. How about that? Let's see. The last ability is called Undefeated. Also a fist will reason.
A new capture point has become available.
Yeah, I think reason. Just this buff. That's it. It doesn't say area of effect, it doesn't say aura. What is buff just itself, so I guess. But it has some area associated with it. So it should be reflected in some sort of a flavor description. But anyway, gain increased defense and morale for every nearby enemy unit within the area of effect. So it should say buff area of effect, but then it could be confusing because the buff itself is not an area of effect. And then maximum of 9, so just like Liu Bei, but Liu Bei counts allies, Crixus counts enemies. Speaking of enemies, hello there, Crixus. Let's fight. Let's use our adrenaline rush, silence ourselves as we get into melee, and then after this effect ends and we are in melee, so I guess it's not upon contact, but it's upon the end of adrenaline rush, then it checks if you're in melee, and then if you are, then it gives you adrenaline. God damn it, Gunslinger, I cannot test my knockdowns because of you. Let's see. I think it's a good knockdowns over here. One maybe over here? I don't know. I don't see any of them getting knocked down after I use the ability. And again, not many successful strikes because it's the elephants. But we do have some enemies, so it's all singular, so if I just use it one, let's see it doesn't go on the others. And it lasts for... oh, it's a toggle. Okay, so cooldown 300 seconds, so it's similar to Vengeance, similar to Awful Perseverance. Which means I probably shouldn't have used it here, but it's just demonstration purposes. So it gives us 21% charge deflect. Okay, nice. 50% melee defense, also intensity settings, that's important. Also, I refer to meters, I guess. Increases based on the number of nearby enemies. But yeah, these values that I'm reading, they are going to be reached upon reaching 9 enemies. So if you face only one enemy within 30 meters of your unit, then it's only 1/9 of those stats. Should be 10 just for easier math. I don't know why they're using 9 instead of 10. Kind of weird, but whatever. Also, I don't know again if it's upon activation or does it work like an aura.
Our capture point is contested.
So the stats would increase. We just need to go get testing, but then again we need to wait for quite a while. So I'm just gonna go and heal, and then go to the base, and that should be a perfect opportunity to test it. So what I mean is, just like in the previous video, I had a little bit of a discussion, just presentation, I guess, how different buffs work. As in, one is upon activation, you need to be within the activation range, and also needs to be the center of the unit within the area of effect for it to work. But in an aura, as long as a single soldier is within the aura, then it works. So it's quite inconsistent how buffs work in the War now. I wish it was more consistent. Kind of everything. I guess Adrenaline Rush also helps us just move faster, just like a charge, but actually without the risk of charging into a wall. So that's pretty good. But it's pretty long cooldown, 50 seconds, so longer than your usual charge. And again, probably can be shortened on higher levels.
Half of the enemy team has been
As it's a
eliminated.
very common type of a buff to our ability. Okay,
We have secured a
put B
capture
back
point.
and we secured C. That's pretty nice, and I am rushing to a swarm of enemies. So here where Spartacus would be pretty useful with his morale buffs, as I do not have any. No, this gives me plus 25 morale. It's not that much though,
We are
so
halfway towards
I can still
victory.
be quite easily routed. I have 84 base. 84 base is pretty high. But again, it's a premium unit, so obviously it's overpowered. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's not see because it's on cooldown. Let's see the knockdowns. Yeah. So they got knockdown. Can I see any subsequent knockdowns? Oh, this guy just died. Doesn't really count. Then again, I guess Hoplite Phalanx is not the best target for it. And then once the melee, we don't have much to do.
Under attack.
Apart from getting routed.
Our commander has been
And using strikes every time they get off cooldown. A strike for a 10 seconds until I can do something useful again. I don't have reinforcements coming. Yeah, 70 seconds. I'm not going to
the
survive
enemy
70
has
seconds
lost
over
the
there.
capture point.
See ya. Can I get out? Can I use Adrenaline Rush?
A new capture point.
You can
has
try
become
smashing it.
available.
Once it's activated, I think it should be
We have secured a capture
continuously
point.
activated. Shouldn't deactivate. It says the deactivation out of melee for 5 seconds, but 5 seconds is what I need to activate and get the spot. That's how long the speed buff lasts. But at least one soldier is still in melee, stacked somewhere. Oh. I mean, the melee contact didn't disappear, but I could suddenly use the ability.
Our unit
So
has
again,
recovered.
Armenian logic. It says you're in melee, but you can use an ability that is apparently usable outside of melee.
We're coming for you!
Or usable only outside of melee. So, some again stuff like pike phalanx. You click on the pike unit, and you're looking. Yep, melee contact. It shouldn't be able to use pike phalanx,
Under attack.
and it suddenly does, even though the melee contact doesn't disappear. And like, whoops, I engaged them frontally under the assumption that they are not going to drop pike phalanx on me, and they did. So, yeah, see, please fix.
Our unit has
But
recovered.
anyway,
enemies
let's
will
get
die.
into melee before we inevitably win. So need to test. Does have any deactivation? Yeah, out of melee for 10 seconds. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Exactly 9 units over here. Now some of them may rout before I get there. We may also win the battle before I get there. God damn it, why not have a
Half of
charge
the enemy
or
team has been eliminated.
speed up ability that's longer than 5 seconds? God damn it. Then again, not that slow. This slave legionaries, they're definitely behaving more like a light unit than a heavy. Let's click on the forest. It's medium, okay. I think. I don't know. Okay, we're getting into melee, and that unit should be outside. Yeah, let's just use the one unit.
Numbers mean nothing!
We get some other buffs. We can compare the two statistics. We need to have 2 units fighting in different places, and then units getting in and out. It's very difficult to set up like this to test it properly. But we'll again get a chance to do that. So, okay, thoughts on Crixus. Similar to Spartacus, not too weak, not too strong, just solid and balanced, I think. First skill, just a strike, just like many other commanders, so nothing really special about a strike, other than causing knockbacks on all the successful attacks, but I didn't really see that. Maybe it was bugged, or maybe I was just unlucky, or maybe just not very observant. You can pause and rewind the video, zoom in, so maybe you will be able to find some instances, but it was quite difficult to see. The strike itself isn't very powerful. It gives more melee weapon damage for 10 seconds, so that's pretty good. And it synergizes with the Adrenaline Rush, which is somewhat of a charge, but instead of a direct damage from a charge, it just gives you more damage because it gives you plus 91% melee attack, and then obviously more at higher levels. So it's pretty neat, and that synergizes with the first ability, as more melee attack lets you land more hits while using a strike, and then subsequent hits while still having the knockdowns on hit effects. And the third skill is similar to Liu Bei, but instead of lasting 10 seconds, it's a toggle, and it scales with enemies instead of allies. And SUNTZU provides also pretty good. Just a good mix, morale, melee attack, melee defense, I think, right, if I remember correctly. I don't know, but they seemed okay. But not overpowered, it wasn't that much. 5 minutes cooldown, so similar to Scipio's Oath, also a toggle, and Germanicus' Vengeance. So there we go. That's something that you can compare it with, but instead of being purely defensive like Oath and purely offensive like Vengeance, this one is a mix. And also scales with the number of enemies, because why not? I mean, the stats are actually pretty high if you are surrounded by 9 enemies, so he would be good in big mob fights. And maybe would be better as a frontliner, so Spartacus more of a flanker, this guy more of a frontliner. Then again, he doesn't have a charge himself, so that's pretty sad. So he would be good as a support. But he doesn't have any rebuffs, but just somebody who comes in second, so he doesn't tank the charge, or he doesn't have charge of his own. He just rushes in with Adrenaline Rush, and he just starts fighting and knocking down enemies with his strikes, and buffing himself with his third ability. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So, Heroes bring Total War in the Battle to the West. You have the links in the description, or maybe on your screen. And also, I will see you in the next video about the Gladiator faction, and also on Arena's battlefields. Check out my review of the battlefield we are on, which is Vesuvius, my new favorite map, even though it didn't come out yet. It's already my favorite. See ya, Commanders.